We're going to dive into our latest Dallas Cowboys mailbag. Before we do, if you want to be a part of these, kind of got to subscribe. We do them during our live show. So if you haven't already, join the #1 Cowboys YouTube channel out there. Hit that big red button and subscribe today at youtube.com/CowboysTV. First up from Zachary Marquez, is Justin Simmons a realistic free agent we could go after? I think realistic in the sense that there is a real chance he hits the open market. Where things get dicey is A, he's going to want top 3 safety money. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to be willing to pay that type of money, or even just top 5 safety money like he wanted from the Denver Broncos. And oh, by the way, there's pretty much no chance you get Justin Simmons unless you pay Dak Prescott for 2 reasons. Number 1, it actually gives you more money this upcoming year. Number 2, same agent. That's kind of a big deal. All right, from my alleged burner account, how would you evaluate Trysten Hill's second season? I saw more promise. I didn't think he was very good in the run game this year. I thought that was a big problem. Now, part of that was because he was playing by Dontari Poe a lot, and it wasn't just his fault. And then Poe got cut after Hill got hurt, and the run defense got better. But I'd say promising, especially in terms of the pass rush. I know he had no sacks, but there were more pressures out of Trysten Hill. I am worried about how he recovers from that knee injury. At this point, entering year 3 and having not put a lot in year 1 and then getting hurt in year 2, you can't bank on him. You can hope, but you probably still got to find more options. Speaking of options in free agency from Sam, do you think Richard Sherman is a realistic free agency option? I think he could be. I don't know what Sherman wants to do, and a lot of this depends on who they keep as their defensive coordinator. Like, unless they go back to the full-fledged cover 3, I don't think you want Sherman in that role. I love Sherman's veteran presence. He's still a solid player, but at some point, potentially even this upcoming year, Sherman's got to move to safety, and he's kind of fully aware of that. So, do you want to spend big money, potentially big money, on a player who maybe becomes your new free safety, or replace Xavier Woods with Sherman, maybe keep him at corner on the outside for a year? If the cost is right, of course, absolutely. I think for the role he's going to want to play and or needs to play, and for the money involved, and for the scheme, and for just the overall fit with this organization, I don't know if Sherman's going to be the most realistic option, but yeah, I would absolutely at least explore it. All right, we'll stay in the secondary here for Winston Bishop. Season's over, so now sign Earl Thomas. Of course. There was an interesting piece in The Athletic breaking down why Earl got cut by the Ravens and why his tenure with Seattle fell apart. And it featured an alleged quote from Mike McCarthy, who said, allegedly, based on what a former player said of McCarthy's, when your bullshit quota exceeds your production, you're gone. That sums up what happened to Earl really well, guys. It is very important to realize nobody signed him. Not the Cowboys, not the Texans, and Houston, by the way, thought about bringing him in. They were going to take a look and see, hey, should we bring in Earl Thomas? That is not the path they chose because the players said no. The reality is, Earl Thomas, he's viewed as a bad teammate. And that's a big deal for NFL teams and players and coaches. They don't want that in their locker room, especially once the production starts to dip. So if you want to explore it this offseason, okay, I get it. I don't know if that's the most likely outcome. But get your votes in here. Do you want Earl Thomas on this roster for 2021? Type Y for yes or type an N for no. From Timothy Dorsey, a super chat. Thank you, Tim. Our order of the draft should be corner, safety, O-line, and linebacker or defensive tackle. Better grade wins out for the last 2. Yes and no. I think you've hit on the very important needs for this organization. I think in terms of ordering your needs, you might end up being right. But what you can't do is pencil in the actual position before you draft. What happens if 3 corners go before you in round 1? What if they're all gone? Is that a route you really want to go? What if there's an elite linebacker you love in round 3? Maybe you take him instead. So I think in terms of the needs, you got it right. The order, though, should be factoring in who is actually on the board for you. From Edgar, let's trade for Watson. Why? Like, yeah, I get it. You don't want to pay Dak, so you take on Deshaun Watson, which frankly isn't actually that much different than Dak's once you factor in the signing bonus going out. Like, Watson's contract, it's like almost the same. You save like maybe $5 million. And Houston's not going to trade Deshaun Watson, guys. Come on. Let's be realistic here. It's not something that they're going to do. All right? So it's a fun idea. Frankly, the difference between Dak and Deshaun legitimately isn't that different. I get it, right? Deshaun Watson had a great year on a bad team. Shit, didn't we hear that last year with Dak? It's the exact same thing. They're in the same tier, guys. At that point, you stick with the one you got and don't give up more assets, which I'm sure Houston would be asking for if they were to ever do it, which they're not going to. Today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and bet all of your money on Houston keeping Deshaun Watson for 2021. Kidding, it's not a bet available right now because they'd make no money. Promo code is Cowboys125 to give you a 125% deposit bonus. That's chatsports.com/bet. Don't forget to use that promo code. It's the only way you get it for that deposit bonus. It's chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Cowboys125. From my burner account, who is your best, worst case draft prospect at 10? Ooh, good question. Your best case actually might be one of the quarterbacks falls to you at 10, and you could trade down. I don't know if that is a realistic outcome. I would like to get Caleb Farley. It's early for me to really say best and worst case. I don't necessarily want to pencil myself in there, but I think in general, I don't want to go linebacker. I like Parsons, Owusu Koromoa, other guys. I don't want to go linebacker at 10. I'm sorry. Andres Gonzalez, anyone in mind you target in a trade? Any positions? I think in general, maybe you look at defensive tackle. Now, I don't think Quentin Williams is going to be available. Sorry, guys. It'd be awesome, but I'd be pretty stunned by that one. If you can find the defensive tackle, with the way I expect this draft class to end up shaking out, I don't think it's going to be a great one. I think at that point, maybe you look at DT as a potential trade target for the Cowboys. From Rainbow, is Mike McCarthy a new Jason Garrett? I think he's better than Jason Garrett. How many games does this Cowboys team, same roster, same coaching staff, but it's Garrett instead of McCarthy, how many games do they win this year once Dak goes down? They finish at what? 3 wins? 4 wins? I think somewhere around there, right? Now, I'm not saying McCarthy's the answer. He might not be, but I do think he's an upgrade over Garrett. From Isaac Ford IV, Tom, why hasn't Mike Nolan been fired yet? Great question. Simple answer as far as I'm concerned. When was the last time, when it came to a decision of this type, that the Cowboys made it quickly? Never, right? They always take their good old sweet time. They did it with Garrett, right? They took a week to fire him when it was obvious, clear as day, he needed to go altogether. So I'm not panicking that Mike Nolan hasn't been fired 5 days or whatever after the season ends. Check in a week or two. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when the Cowboys made a similar decision with Scott Linehan. In reality, the Cowboys rarely make these types of quick decisions, which is frustrating. I get it, but they tend to drag their feet. And it especially makes sense with what I think is the move they'd end up doing if they do fire Mike Nolan, is just to promote George Edwards and not really do a full-fledged defensive coordinator coaching search. Now, if you guys want Mike Nolan fired, as I know many of you do, type in FN in the comment section to fire Nolan. I think we're mostly in agreement on that one. So if you're on board with me and you're like, look, Nolan just got to go, fire him. Type in FN in the comments section. Alakai Trimble, I have a good feeling pick up a lot of playmakers through the draft and free agency. I hope so. I think that would be an absolutely fantastic move for the Cowboys to get more help, but who knows if it actually happens. All right, Alec Wilson. When is Jerry going to get out of his own way, go get Urban Meyer, accomplish a Jimmy Johnson trade craziness, blow it up? It's that easy, right? Who are you trading to get a Jimmy Johnson type trade? Guys, the Herschel Walker trade 2.0, it's not coming through that door. It's not. I'm sorry. It's just that's an unrealistic expectation. But thanks for the super chat. All right, for my burner account, does Dallas move with more urgency with Dak this time? I question if it's possible to move with less urgency. So yes, I'm gonna speak positively there and say yes, they'll move with more urgency. Guys, if they open up free agency without a Dak deal, I'm gonna be concerned. Ryan Marquez, does Jalen Smith take a pay cut to stay with the team? Love the guy, but his pass coverage is scary and not in a good way. I think a fair assessment of Jalen there, Ryan. I don't think so. Look, we'll break down some cap cuts this week here on the Cowboys Report. He is one of my potential cap cuts. The issue is, yeah, you could ask him to take a pay cut, but he just signed his deal. Those normally happen at the back end of deals, not when it's like, okay, cut me, I'll still make plenty of money. I don't think that's a likely outcome for Jalen Cowboys. I think you can offer it to him, but he might not like that very much based on his recent media comments. So I would not get my hopes up for a Jalen Smith pay cut. Frankly, I think it'd be more likely they just choose to outright cut him instead. So I think it's a fair question, but I'm going to go with no in the end. Moving now to 2021. What is your confidence level for the season? Rate this for me on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being you are melting down. You don't think it's going to be a good one. 10 being you think it's the best year ever coming up for the Cowboys.